Are FDA-approved drugs truly safe? Is fluoride in our water really necessary? Join us as we tackle these thought-provoking questions while our guest, Will Brooks, offers practical tips for staying sane with a newborn and 3 kids.
The Discovery Doc Podcast, where your journey to empowered, non-toxic living begins. Join me, Dr.CeCe, a doctor of nursing practice, self-proclaimed toxin tamer, and mama of 4 alongside
Me, Annah Kate, your medical mystery overachiever. Together, we'll uncover the latest in functional medicine, debunk health myths, tame toxins, and provide practical tips for thriving in a modern world.
Get ready to take control of your health with expert insights, raw stories, and actionable wellness strategies designed to help you and your family lead vibrant, toxin-free lives. Let's discover together.
We're excited to bring back our very first guest, the one and only Will Brooks. And we also have a new addition that they make the cutest babies, y'all. They're all adorable. They're all super athletes. Yes, I'm talking about you.
Yeah, I know. Push you back.
Yeah, baby Jace.
It's too much going on.
Yeah, I'm trying to
It's so much going on.
It's baby Jace.
Baby Jace has arrived.
So give us an update, because we did our first episode with you two, and y'all were a family of 5, and now you're a family of 6. Does adding one more really change things all that much, or not really? It's like when you got 3, you might as well add another one.
Go ahead.
I think this one, the only difference was really pregnancy. I think that was tougher. Yeah. Than the other ones for sure. But once we got here, I feel like 4 is just the same as 3. I feel like once you have more than 2, it's all the same.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
You know?
I think the more we do it, it is a little bit harder. Like balancing schedule. I will say it's like
Definitely.
difficult as far as like, oh, this is miserable or anything like that. But like, timing is a little different, because now you got to figure out his nap time around picking the kids up, and then, you know, trying to find time for yourself and find time for each other.
That's true.
But outside of that, as far as like traveling and things like that, we still do all that.
Yeah.
We travel pretty easy. It's not a real struggle for us to do anything like that. But, you know, there's small things that come up here and there, and you have to work it out.
Yeah, I think he doesn't sleep like our other ones. Our other ones, like by 8 weeks, they're all sleeping through the night, and then he just wants to party.
Yeah.
So I think for him, his lack of sleep has been the most challenging, because Will, poor guy, he sleeps in the room with Jace on the floor, and because we're breastfeeding on work nights, he'll just come and plop Jace on my boob, and so I like half wake up, but then he has a full wake up and bring him back
before they wake up, make the trip across the hall, wait until he's done. We go back to the room.
He just need audio attention.
It works out because I work at night. Like I coach at night, so I'm able to get my naps in during the day while the kids are at school during his nap. So it works out. It's all good.
How does it affect your late night gaming and snacking?
Oh no, I'm still up to par on that.
Okay.
You know?
All right, just saying.
I don't
Making sure we're not making it
there. I'm a night owl anyhow, but that's probably like one of the hardest parts is that I'm a night owl. So when he goes to sleep, we should technically be asleep when he's asleep, by strategy wise.
Yeah.
But I never do. I'm always up until like 12:30. And then I look at the clock. I'm like, well, he's going to be up in like an hour and a half. So why even go to sleep? So 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm awake. And then he pops up. And I'm just like, all right.
That's fair. I do think it's taken us a little bit longer to get back into our routine with the 4th. I more feel like, okay, during the day-to-day, like we have bigger kids, so they play with him. Like your first couple, you have to do everything. You have to play with them and pick up their toys. You have to hand them things. You have to like just entertain them. And we have Ava and Jackson and Jada. But Ava like changes his diaper and changes his onesie and will like hold him and get him from his crib. And then Jackson's really good at playing with him and keeping him happy on car rides. And Jada's good at being the personality. And she would really thing. So like that part gets easier, but I think routine wise, it's taken us a little bit longer to get back in the group. At least for me, like I haven't even worked out once yet. He doesn't work out as much as he needs to, either just like normal everyday things, or even like this. You know, it took me a lot longer this time to get back into anything outside of seeing patients.
Yeah, I mean, it all kind of catches up at some point. You know, before I wasn't working at all. I was just doing full time, stay home dad. That's all I'm focused on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, I get bored. I'm like, all right, well, I need to go do something with myself. And I get offered to go coach the mixed martial arts and coach these young fighters. So I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. I want to be a part of this. And then you add that thing in. So that's kind of subtracts from your normal schedule of like being able to cook dinner and be able to get kids and get gymnastics and baseball and all these different things that are going on. But I think now that we've just kind of like sat back and like, you know what if we just stop looking at a schedule and just play it by ear and just go with the flow? It's kind of smooth out a little bit more. But yeah, it's a little bit to do it.
It's a part to plan that.
Yeah.
Because we're breastfeeding with the other kids, I was exclusively pumping. I just had a really hard time putting them on the breast. And so it actually made it, I don't want to say easier, but different. It was easier to schedule because he would always just have milk to give him. You could always feed him. Whereas when I'm exclusively breastfeeding, I don't pump at all. I only pump when I'm at work. And so there's days where we don't have any milk in the fridge or the freezer. Yeah. And so he's having to drop the kids off at school, like come to my office, let me top them off real quick.
Yep.
And then either come back like later in the afternoon sometime. For the first probably month I was back in the office, he was coming to the office just to be there because he also couldn't take a bottle.
Yeah.
The first month because he was born with what I call laryngeal malacia, which is like a little floppy airway. And so it was really hard for him at first to take a bottle, which this guy had to come literally just sit at my office. So I could try to feed him between patients. And then as the weeks progressed, he got a little bit better with it. And he was able to stay home more. But yeah, like there's different variables this time around. That we didn't have before.
Things that we can control.
And it's hard.
Like it's parenting.
Yeah, like I'm tired. I will say I'm exhausted, but it's more my fault than it is like, oh, the kids are too much. It's more my fault that I just don't sleep at night. I've always been a night owl.
Sorry for that birth.
We just got head.
I'm a night owl anyhow, so it's more just, all right, if I was just to behave like a normal adult and go to bed at a reasonable time, I probably would be just fine. But outside of that, it's like
last night, this dude strolled in at like 2 a.m.
I don't recommend adulting. I never kind of. So just totally having it.
Yeah, I came in at like 2 a.m.
I was like, you're a doofus.
But it was 2 a.m.
That's me.
And I was still wide awake when I got in bed.
Yeah.
And it was a full moon. And apparently from what my wife is educated me with, it's not been I have ADHD. Apparently full moons
impact.
You're right.
Probably
a little baby and
my brain is always ticking. Then I'll find one thing to do and then another thing to do, and then I look outside and I see a full moon and I'm like, yeah, let's
go.
You know,
and now when he comes upstairs, he's out sleep if he's not up there, and so now we're both awake at 2.
Yeah,
2 hours later.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the Brooks Life.
Hey.
On this segment of Discovery Doc Deep Dives, we're going to go back in time and talk about her labor and delivery of this little dude right here, this little booty.
Yeah, if you hear the little snorts, we have a 7-month-old that's crawling behind us who's very busy doing absolutely nothing at all.
Yeah. This is how we do life now. So welcome to the show.
He's joining us. Welcome back. I am here. Yeah, you guys are going to listen to me. Yeah, so had another baby. Yeah. Yes, we did. Number 4. This guy we had at home, and we talked a little bit about this with Will, but in previous pregnancies, I did have cholestasis, and then I beat it with Jada, or avoid it with Jada, and this guy, I did reverse it, which we'll talk a little bit more next episode as well. Pregnancy outside of that, though, was a whirlwind. I feel like it was just like, I don't know. We had just opened the practice and had 3 kids, and I just didn't even have time to think about anything. Other pregnancies, I was like, oh, I know the size of my baby. My baby is an eggplant this week, or a whatever papaya. or a pumpkin. And
Oh.
this time people would ask me, like, how far along are you? And I'm like 20 weeks. Turns out I was like 30.
Yeah.
She was just struggling over here.
So did you feel like this pregnancy went a lot faster?
Yeah, I do. I feel like it went by a lot faster because I just didn't have time to sit and think about anything, even with the cholestasis and everything that went on. I just didn't have time to stop and think about anything. It just, we're just here.
We're standing now.
Yeah.
We're standing now.
And we were blessed to be able to end up having a home birth. I had an awesome midwife, Debbie Schneider, who it was just so empowering and trusting of my body, even through reversing that cholestasis. She was right there with me, saying that she'll support me and do, what I'm comfortable with. And so the Sue decided to come at 38 weeks, and I set up the room. Yeah, I know. I set up the room so beautiful with all my little lights and the little tub. And I went. It was like 2:00 in the morning, and I was like, oh, this is weird. I'm just cramping a little bit. And then it stopped. And then by like 11 a.m., it just kept going and not. And I texted, I texted Debbie, and I was like, I think I might be in labor. And she goes, no, don't go in labor yet. I have to go to the tax office today at 1.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so you're going to need to wait. Okay, I know. Just like everyone needs to wait so you can get on it. Oh, dude.
Don't bite me.
No, those 2 T-bones, man, I swear. So I was like, that's wonderful. I'll just wait. I'll just wait to go into labor so you can go to the tax office. Man.
Well, I mean, we all have priorities.
We all have priorities, and hers that day was her appointment at the tax office. She said, I need to go today. I missed my appointment like twice. I said, okay. So I actually stopped, like contractions completely stopped. Okay, I won't do that. And then I went and took a little nap, woke up for a nap as soon as the kids got home at like 4. And I was like, oh, they kind of started up again. And Will was like, should I go to work tonight or not? I was like, yeah, I think you should go. And then I went to take a shower like 6. And I was like, no, you shouldn't go. He's coming. This is real. It was just so on and off. It was so weird.
This is not a drill.
This is not a drill. It was happening. And so then like at 6:30 is when it really started happening. Dude was here at 8:54 p.m. So it was 2 hours of like real labor.
Yeah.
And we had him over at my mom's because that's where we set up the room. And it was perfect. He was healthy. He came out super quick. It was much easier than my first home birth. And Debbie is so great because she like honors a 2-hour kind of golden window postpartum or once you have baby. And so they didn't touch him. They didn't take him. They chilled out for 2 hours. And I just held him and fed him and loved on him. And then they did all the things they needed to do. But it was beautiful. We were very blessed to be able to have had that journey given what I went through in pregnancy, and the cholestasis and reversing it. That the fact that we ended up there, we were very thankful for. We're very blessed.
And you did a water birth.
I did, yes, which is another thing that just like absolutely boggles my mind. I don't know how midwives just know. Because you don't labor in the water for long because the water gets cold. You know, you want to be in it when it's warm. And so it's just so natural. Debbie's like, okay, I think it's time to get in the water. And I'm like, and it's kind of like exciting because you're like, oh, that means I'm close. But in my head, I'm like just in it. And so I don't know anything else that's going on. But she timed it perfectly. I was in the water. It was still warm by the time he came out. And what was really different this time that I'm also very thankful for is I went to a pelvic floor therapist throughout my entire pregnancy. And you would think after having 4 kids, I would know how to push a baby out. You would think. No, I didn't at all. Like our natural instinct to kind of bear down is so wrong. Yeah. Because if you're squeezing, that's not opening and relaxing. How is something, think about like a big old poop trying to come out if you're squeezing, right? It'll come out
pinch it off
easier if you're right. If you're just open and relaxed. So it's very similar to having a baby is that with Jada, I was squeezing. I was like, my knuckles were turning white every time a contraction would happen. And then getting her out, I would just focus on squeezing and like bearing down. But I really learned throughout this pregnancy how to relax. It sounds crazy, but how to relax my pelvic floor.
Yeah.
Jules, you're very loud. How to relax my
like it's the
pelvic floor.
opposite side of that Kegel exercise where it's you clench and then you release and it's opening that release
Exactly.
and staying in that state more than the closed
Exactly.
state, which helps your bladder but not birth the baby.
Yes. And in those intense contractions, learning how to just relax my pelvic floor, relax my butt muscles so that he could feel like he could come out.
Mm-hmm.
And that made all the difference. And Will was right there reminding me, like there was once where I tightened up. He was like, baby, relax, like just breathe, and like really breathing down. Like I used my breath a lot more this time.
Mm-hmm.
And just visualizing, okay, breathing down. And for me, it was getting my breath into like a low tone where it just felt like physically, it felt like I was pushing that air down. And that really helped. Like, I don't know. It was an accumulation of what I learned throughout my pregnancy, and then having Debbie there. She would talk to me at the right time, not in while I was in a contraction, but out of it. She'd be like, hey, CeCe, like, why don't we try, putting this leg up? Because she knew that my pelvis was tilted a certain way. And so the whole thing just made it so much easier for him to come out, and so much more, I mean, honestly, less painful. It was like the active labor, those contractions suck. They do. But like actually getting him here, when you know proper mechanics of your body and how to, in that time of quote unquote like physical stress, relax, holy moly, it's like night and day from what I had in Jada.
And your body knows what to do if it's given the
you just let it.
Right parameters and support to do what it naturally needs
like
to do.
I felt with Jada, I was fighting those natural parameters. With Jace, I was accepting it, not fighting it, but accepting it. And that made a world of difference in pain level, in his ability to come quicker. Jada got stuck in the birthing canal, and it's because I was being forceful with it instead of just going with that natural progression.
Yeah.
So, much different this time around. It was amazing. It was beautiful. Wouldn't have traded it for the world.
Well, we want to hear your birth stories, especially if they're like came quick. A friend of mine, his wife had their third baby in an elevator. She got to the hospital, got in the elevator, and he was here. So, and they live like an hour and a half from the hospital. So, like, there's like that whole saga. So, I'm hoping that she will give us a little insight on that. But it's just amazing that your body knows what to do. Like, women have been having babies for millennia. And only in the last couple 100 years that medical men that don't have no uterus, no opinion, just gonna say that on birth of like
have medicalized it.
Yeah.
100%.
And we talked about that too of how when you got your cholestasis reversed, they still wanted to induce you at the hospital at 37 weeks. And it's like, no,
ma'am.
Thank you.
Absolutely not.
Thanks, but no thanks. But is there anything else that you want to give hope on in doing? Hi.
I know. These are his sounds.
I love it.
These are his sounds. Yeah, I think just trusting yourself. That was my biggest lesson this pregnancy, was trusting my body, trusting my intuition. I had one side of medicine telling me that there's absolutely no chance for a home birth. I need to be induced at 37 weeks, even though, again, I had reversed the cholestasis and it had been cleared for already 3 weeks. They were still, and I had labs to show that, they were still like, no, this is protocol. This is what needs to be done. I'm like, but where's the risk? There is no risk. There's absolutely no risk. You're just doing it because it's a one-size-fit-all type of thing. And so I think just, I don't want to say be reckless with your health. Absolutely not. Like if you have the proper support and team around you, then be your own advocate, stand up for yourself, trust your instincts, trust your body, and let that guide you in conjunction with your healthcare team.
A mother's intuition really does know best, and you know your body better than anybody else.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
it's great. I'm excited that we deep dove. We did a deep dive.
We did a deep
dive into pregnancy and labor and all of that in you. And now we have this baby.
It's still a squeaker. And we will talk more about postpartum on our next episode. So stay tuned for that, y'all.
Yep.
What is fluoride?
Fluoride is a natural mineral mineral found in soil, water, food, and even our teeth.
Yes. And outside of water, we can commonly find it, which we'll talk about a little bit next time too, in our mouthwash, toothpaste, and some tooth whitening products. But really, we want to touch on the kind of implications of fluoride and what those implications on our health are. So starting in going back in history, 1975, the chief chemist of the National Cancer Institute, Dean Burke is his name, declared that fluoride in water causes more cancer and causes it faster than any other chemical.
A question.
Yes.
Why is it in our water? It shouldn't be there.
No.
It's not naturally in our
I think
water.
that's there. So stay tuned for our Mythbuster portion because we are going to debunk this myth that fluoride belongs in our water. But then follow that up, and in 1977, some members of Congress inquired about whether federal health authorities, after a quarter century of experimenting with fluoridation, had ever tested fluoridated water, I can never say that word, as a cause of cancer. And that answer?
No, they did not.
Big fat no.
Because it's what level carcinogen is it?
We'll talk about that.
All the questions.
No.
I want all the answers.
So another 10 years went by before any tests were actually performed on rats. And after a young male rat, or multiple young male rats, were exposed to fluoridated water, they developed both bone cancer and liver cancer.
Harsh.
I know. And in 1992, 3 U.S. scientists found evidence of Alzheimer's-like symptoms in lab animals exposed to fluoridated water, which they found was actually caused by traces of aluminum being carried into the animals' brains due to cross-contamination of fluoride and aluminum.
I wonder where fluoride comes from. What industry?
I know.
Can you answer that in our next episode?
I can,
Okay.
absolutely. So there's our little brief on kind of what fluoride is, a little brief into the history of it. Y'all will need to stay tuned for where do we find it, what does it do, and how we get rid of it.
On this segment of Medical Myth Busting, we are going to explore that the FDA-approved drugs are always safe. Yes? No?
The answer is no, AK. I'm just going to say it.
Saw that one coming.
Okay, but why?
Why?
Okay.
Why are they safe?
We are not going to use our emotions here. We are going to look just at history and facts and studies and the sorts, okay? So in the early 2000s, there were 4 books that were published. Each were written by physicians who later went on to become medical school academics. And they pretty much demolish myths that our country loves to hold near and dear to its heart about the pharmaceutical industry and the true nature, instead of its really kind of symbiotic relationship to modern Western medicine. And I say modern because never mind, I'm not going down that rabbit hole today. We'll do that another time. But 3 of the physicians are associated with Harvard Medical School, and the 4th is a professor at the University of California in San Diego. So these are quality guys. These are smart humans. These are not, anything to be, what's the word, I have the saying in my head and I can't say it. To slough off.
Yeah, turn your nose up at.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
I was like, I know it's turned something, but my head was going to ear. That's not right. That is not accurate. Anyways, what these 4 medical authorities do agree upon is that modern medicine's dependence on synthetic chemicals manufactured by pharmaceutical companies often ends in a failure to protect public health. Okay, that's a big old sentence. That's a lot.
Because they are treating the symptom, they're not preventative to, like food and natural things are to improve your health. They're there to treat a Band-Aid.
Yes, that's where our brain goes. But let me take it kind of a step further to them.
Okay.
The failure began in the past century with the relationship between the keywords, the relationship between the FDA and the drug makers that the FDA is supposed to regulate. So yes, in our heads, we are not I'm very preventative. I use medicine in a way that I would love to use it in a way that truly is preventative, that we get in front of the disease, but often I'm treating the disease because that's just the nature of where we're at. But this is about the relationship keywords, again, between the FDA and the drug makers that they are supposed to unbiasedly be regulating. So
if you're not watching this on YouTube, on our
getting
video on
heated.
YouTube, I'm making the money sign between my fingers
Yes.
because that's the relationship.
It is. And it's essentially like getting your house. And I use this one all the time whenever people are like, hey, who should I have test my house for mold? You never want the person coming in to test your house for mold who is also remediating it. Why? Because they're always going to find a problem to then charge you to fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So part of this myth is understanding that the FDA doesn't actually study drugs. Again, the FDA does not study drugs prior to approval. It is up to the company. It is up to the pharmaceutical company that makes the drug to generate the information for the FDA. Okay, what is the issue with that? There's so many issues with that. Let me reiterate. Our government depends on safety data that's supplied by the drug companies, the drug manufacturers, to make the FDA's approval decisions. There's no checks and balances.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So that leaves way for me as a drug company to manipulate my studies, to fund my studies in a certain way, to make my drug look more appealing, to make my drug look less harmful. So then the FDA takes that and says, hey, yeah, you're cleared, go ahead. There's no third-party regulation there.
No third-party testing.
No.
No efficacy, no making sure that what's in there is on the label is actually in there and there's not all this extra other stuff because it's less than 2% or whatever.
Exactly. None. So to rely on drug companies for unbiased evaluations of their products is basically like relying on cigarette companies to teach us to stop smoking.
Yeah.
Are we putting these things together, y'all? So we just have to hope and pray that these humans are moral and use their ethics and not swayed by profit or pressure. Okay.
That's a big fat not gonna happen.
Thank you for your commentary on this. It's so true, though. It's so true. So in their separate books, two of the physicians basically talk about the levels, and there are levels to this deception that occur in drug trials. And a good example, possible example in one of these books is that in 2005, a new FDA-approved diabetic drug hit the market. And two cardiologists from Ohio decided to perform an independent study regarding the testing data of that drug. And it's actually, yeah.
Is this one of the ones that's now popular?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually not going to say the name. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
But
I'm just putting that out there that it's not.
It's not
what's currently a buzz.
It's not the weight loss drug. But it's published by the Journal of American Medical Association. Their goal was to stop a public health crisis. And because what their research discovered was that this treatment for type 2 diabetes caused more instances of death from heart attacks and strokes than the company's test data portrayed to the FDA.
That kind of sounds eerily familiar to something else.
Yeah.
That's happened in the last 5 years.
Yes. So they then, after they did this independent study, these two, again, professional, established cardiologists, uncovered this pattern of omissions. Just nicely omitting information from the public in data presented to the FDA that creates this false illusion of safety to the public.
Yeah, if you only present your wins in your paper and not
your losses.
Yeah, or the obstacles to overcome to get to the wins.
Yeah.
Fishy, fishy, fishy.
Very fishy. And so, I mean, fast forward today, there are so many drugs that are withdrawn, I mean, more than ever before, for their toxic effects that show up after being prescribed. Because since the drug trials can be tampered with a little bit, we really don't see long-term effects on just the American population until years to come. And so then that drug will get pulled years later because all of a sudden, now they're getting links to cancer or to arthritis or to these autoimmune conditions that if we just studied them objectively from the start for long enough time, they wouldn't have even hit the market. So that being said, I think it's important to talk about kind of the side effects, and there's a huge pandemic of then people passing away from side effects of drugs. That is one of the major cause in the United States of people dying each and every year. And that's not new, stemming in 1998. Again, a study in the Journal of the American Medical Association shows that roughly 300 people were dying every day due to side effects from legal drugs.
Okay, so side note, we are the only country that allows drug ads on TV.
Yes. Oh, I've been wanting to go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah. So why would I, as the consumer, be watching Friday night TV and decide that I need to go ask my doctor about this drug that I don't even need to be on? So half the things that, like, when you reach a certain age and you go to an allopathic doctor, they're going to be like, oh, well, we'll put you on this, this, and this just because you're that age.
Right.
Like, do I need it? No, but you're the age. So we should just give you this. And I don't know if I need it.
I believe, someone fact check me, but I did research on this relatively recently, and I believe there's only one other country in the entire world, and I actually think it's New Zealand, which I was surprised by, that allows for drug companies to promote their product directly to consumers. One country, other than the US, in the entire world is allowed to do that. So that just shows you how big of a money scheme it is.
Mm-hmm.
We are advertising this drug that should really be educated to you by a professional, by your doctor, if it's right for you, not like, oh, this happy-go-lucky commercial that it makes it out to seem, hey, I need this now because it'll make me feel like this. And then you listen to the rattled off 200 side effects at the end. Yeah. But you don't really hear that because you see the pleasant, happy family playing.
And everybody can roller skate.
Everyone can roller skate. Why? Everyone can roller skate. No matter the age, everyone can roller skate. Like, where are the ads for eating well, for working out, for getting out in the sun, for grounding yourself? Like, where are the unbiased ads that are not to make money off of, that actually help your health and in terms of preventing your health?
That's why they're not there, and why there are no coupons on vegetables and fruits in the grocery store.
Exactly. Okay.
All right.
We digress.
I digest.
We digest. So, kind of rounding this out here, at least 51% of all FDA-approved drugs have serious adverse effects that are not detected prior to approval. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Over half of the drugs on the market that are approved by the FDA the serious adverse effects are not known until after this drug is already in our community. Over half. So they are being labeled as safe by the FDA and then prescribed to millions of people, only to later be detected as having previously unrecognized serious medical consequences.
Not minor consequences.
No, these are
serious.
Yeah, this is serious.
Is it because they just didn't test it long enough? Or, like, how long does the study really need to be?
Exactly.
I mean, there are studies that started in the 80s and 90s that they're still tracking today, mm-hmm. and they don't even have all the data. They don't even know. Exactly. And we're getting things in the market after several months.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes 3 months. Yeah, absolutely. So the thing that bugs me the most is that we, the people, think that the FDA is there to protect us. And I think since the world of COVID, people have become a little bit more aware that we have to be our own advocates and not just take what other people say as, the law. Well, yeah, asterisks on that, okay? Like, the law is the law, you know what I mean? But they're not. The FDA is not truly there to protect us. They are an industry that gains quite a bit of benefit from you being sick. Mm-hmm. And they gain quite a bit of benefit from approving these drugs from these pharmaceutical companies instead of having an unbiased, no relationship with these companies where they cannot be swayed one way or the other, and we're just looking at the facts. What the FDA is doing and what the public thinks that they are doing is two worlds apart, night and day. So, AK, you asked me if all FDA-approved drugs are safe, and my answer is no. They are not. Now, that does not take away from some that have been on the market. Like, let's take ivermectin, for example. That is wildly safe drug. There are safe drugs out there.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong. There are wildly successful, helpful drugs for patients who have chronic conditions, for acute situations that, I'm not against medications whatsoever. Like, they are life-saving. They can improve our quality of life. They are needed in a space and time for certain people, 100%. But the term, are all medications approved by the FDA safe? My answer is no.
So, are all the medical prescriptions that I'm taking, are they safe?
Where's my coffee?
Where's the list?
Where's my coffee?
Okay, so that's a great question that you can go in and ask your medical provider of, hey, what are the known side effects? What are, there's a medication that I'm on that gives me very vivid dreams.
I have a step up from that. If you are on a bunch of different medications, yes, we should, as providers, we should know the common side effects. But that doesn't mean that, let's say someone else put you on a medication 10 years ago, that a new provider just took over and they're taking over that script because it hasn't changed. It doesn't really mean that they can rattle off all the possible side effects, or all the literature about it, or all the studies about it. So I would actually go to the manufacturers directly.
Okay.
And look at the information that's hard to find. Look at the inserts, look at the ingredients, try to conduct a little bit of your own research, as well as getting the opinion of your medical provider. That way you can kind of go down possibly little tentacles that your provider might not be aware of. I think there's a lot of valuable information there as well.
Yep. And continue listening to the Discovery.podcast so we can give you those little rabbit holes to go and explore.
Yes. And if there is a drug that you guys want to either debunk or kind of give the thumbs up, you let us know.
Yeah.
Shoot us an email, write us on Instagram, whatever. We are here to debunk some myths. Yeah. Or, what's the word?
Quantify?
Not quantify.
Qualify?
No. Like it's right. It's good. There's another word for validate. I don't know. We're either going to tell you it's false or it's true. So There you go.
And we'll do the dirty work.
We shall.
As we conclude this episode, we hope you've gained a fresh perspective on the hidden risks of FDA-approved drugs and the surprising truths about fluoride in your water. Remember, knowledge is power, and being well-informed is the first step towards making the best decisions for your health and well-being. We're here to help you navigate the often confusing world of wellness with clarity and confidence. Join us next week to continue the conversation. We'd love to see you around. So become an insider at thediscoverydoc.com to gain exclusive access to bonus content, helpful resources, and the latest updates. Also, leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Your support helps others discover our show and join our wellness-driven community. Explore more resources at thediscoverydoc.com, your one-stop destination for practical tips, expert advice, and inspiring stories on achieving optimal health. And follow us on all the social media platforms at The Discovery Doc for daily wellness wisdom and engaging updates. Thank you for joining us on this journey towards a happier, healthier you. Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll see you next time. Before you go, this is the part where we have to get a little serious. Just a little. Please remember that the information shared in this podcast is for general informational and entertainment purposes only. While we strive to provide accurate and helpful information, we're not here to replace your doctor or healthcare provider. Think of us as your friendly health enthusiast gal pals who love sharing what we know, but always remember to consult with a qualified medical professional before taking any action based on the content of this podcast. And just like the Pirates Code, this disclaimer may change from time to time, so be sure to check back for updates. Stay healthy, stay happy, and don't forget to laugh. It's good for you.